morning, everyone. This is Durga from Airpost Creation 2021. And how is everybody today? I hope you are all well and the weather is good. Preferably here it's raining, but I know there are lots of places on earth which have today sunshine. Now, I found a quote. I like to start with a quote. It's from The Way of Life by Lao Tzu from the Tao Te Ching. Number 1, existence is beyond the power of words. We use terms to define existence, but none of them are absolute. And whether a man dispassionately sees the core of life or passionately sees the surface are essentially the same, words making them seem different. So that's the start for that. Then another thing, I'm starting with my juice in the beginning because it's my breakfast. It's a cucumber, carrots, apples, and bell peppers. A red bell pepper and a yellow bell pepper. Okay, so to all of your health. And now, today, I like to go a little bit more into the different gods of Hinduism. And after we are through with that, we talk about a sect that settled in India coming from Persia. Okay? But I start first with the different gods found in Hinduism. I already introduced in my first video about Hinduism the 3 gods, namely Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. Here again, I like to talk a bit more about the god of creation, Lord Brahma. Brahma contains the entire cosmos and all its creatures within him. He also symbolizes the mind and the intellect because he is the source of all knowledge necessary for the universe. Brahma also stands for birth and death, the everlasting cycle of the birth and the death. Brahma is depicted by 4 faces, symbolizing the human personality: mind, intellect, ego, and consciousness. Then there comes Vishnu. Vishnu is seen as the preserver and sustainer of life. He sustains life by adherence to principle, order, righteousness, and truth. Vishnu is responsible for order and balance. He also encourages his devotees to show kindness and compassion to all creatures. Vishnu is depicted with 4 arms. These 4 arms present his omnipotence and omnipresence. Vishnu is seen as a more esoteric god in comparison to those who rule over the natural world, because he is responsible for the divine essence pervading the universe. Normally, Vishnu is depicted sitting on a coiled snake, which should symbolize the ability to remain at peace in the face of fear regarding the snake, who could be poisonous. So, Vishnu is the god of support, order, and balance. The gods Rama and Krishna are avatars of Vishnu. God Shiva is called the destroyer. As you travel through India, you will get to see many lingams. Lingams represent Shiva, and lingam is the male sex organ, while yoni is the female sex organ. So Shiva is also the god of creating new life. Shiva protects his followers from destructive vices such as greed, lust, and anger. Shiva also guards people from illusion and from ignorance. Greed, lust, anger, illusion, and ignorance are seen as forces which stand in the way of a person seeking enlightenment. A person cannot live a truly meaningful life when greed, lust, anger, illusion, and ignorance get in the way. Shiva is also responsible for death. Death is needed to bring about rebirth and new life. Hindus often call upon Shiva using this mantra, Om Namah Shivaya. This mantra shall destroy bad energy in physical and in the physical energetic space. Also this mantra shall destroy bad energy in the physical energetic space. Shiva is often depicted with a serpent around his neck, representing Kundalini, which means life energy. Shiva is also depicted as a phallic symbol dancing. Shiva is the god of destruction, renewal, and death. Now we come to god Garnish, also called Ganesha. This god is recognized easily by his elephant head. He is one of the best known deities. Garnish or Ganesha is the son of Shiva, the firstborn son of god Shiva. Ganesha's large elephant head symbolizes wisdom and knowledge. Garnish brings good fortune to those who offer him delicious sweets. In India, believers bring food to their gods. Bring food to their gods as offerings. Ganesha is the ruler of astrology, mantra or sound, and yoga. He is also associated with the arts and sciences. Often, people pray to Ganesha before a wedding or a new project because he removes obstacles so that one can achieve success and good fortune. So Garnish is the god to remove obstacles, giving wisdom and good fortune. There is another god, he is called Hanuman. This Hindu god is depicted as a monkey. Meditation on Hanuman leads to strength, perseverance, and devotion. Hanuman stands for absolute love and dedication. Hanuman is the god of perseverance, dedication, and commitment. Now comes God Krishna. He is one of the earliest to relate to because he is one of the easiest to relate to because he is a very playful and human-like God. Krishna stands for joy, leadership, and love. Hindus keep Krishna very close to their hearts because he is not only human-like and playful and friendly, but he is also an avatar of Vishnu. Krishna is seen as a hero and a leader, as well as a friend and a teacher. He is the embodiment of love and divine joy, and the destroyer of pain and sins. Krishna sees the good in everyone, and he also loves everyone. Krishna is often depicted playing a flute, and he is up to playing naughty games while he steals the clothes from girls while they take a bath, and he watches them sitting on a tree laughing. The girls need to beg before he gives them back their clothes. So he's a little naughty guy, but he is loved by the Indians because he is lovable. There is also a great tale about Krishna, or dedicated to Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita called Mahabharata. And now we come to the goddess Kali. She is also known as the Dark Mother. She is maybe the fiercest and most misunderstood deities. Kali is the wife of Shiva, and she has an intense feminine energy. Kali is depicted with her tongue protruding her mouth while wearing a garland of skulls and a skirt of bones. This should symbolize the death of the ego. Kali reminds her devotees that the human body is only a temporary condition. Contrary of what her image might suggest, she is not responsible for human mortality. So, Kali is the goddess of time, of change, and of destruction. Kali is portrayed as violent and bloodthirsty, but nonetheless, she is for many people important and they worship her. All her worshippers say that Kali is only violent to the people who deserve it. Otherwise, she is a good goddess. Now comes God Rama, and I like to talk about him because God Rama, he was the favorite god of my beloved friend, my Indian friend, who no longer is on earth, but he worshipped Rama. So now I talk about him. God Rama is the god of reason and virtue. He is often depicted or considered the ideal man due to his compassion, courage, devotion, and adherence to Dharma, meaning to duty. He is depicted with a bow and arrow, which symbolizes his readiness to destroy evil and to protect righteousness. So Rama is the god of chivalry, virtue, and fortitude. Now comes the goddess Saraswati. Out of the Hindu deities and goddesses, Saraswati is one of the most beautiful goddesses. She is the goddess of learning, of music, of art, and wisdom. People meditate on her when they desire knowledge and understanding. Saraswati is often depicted playing the flute, and she is sitting either on a white lotus flower or on a swan. She wears no jewelry or makeup, but is beautiful by nature. Saraswati is the goddess of knowledge, music, and art. Another female is Durga. Durga is a goddess also called Divine Mother. She is also known as the Invincible. She is also known as the Invincible. A person can call upon Durga to be protected against prejudice, hatred, jealousy, and ego. Durga is depicted with 8 arms holding a myriad of weapons. She is protecting mankind in every direction of the world. There is a well-known story about the goddess Durga. Namely, the story goes like that. After she fought on a battlefield and killed all her enemies, she heard a baby crying. So she walked over to pick up the baby, and she took the baby to her breast, feeding it. So Durga symbolizes strength coupled with compassion. Durga is the goddess of leadership, warrior knowledge, and strength. So that was today a little introduction of the main gods and goddesses of Hinduism. And now we come to another sect. This sect here is called Parsis, or also Parsis spelled Parsis, or also spelled Parsees. As I mentioned before, the Zoroastrians fled from ancient Persia, which now is Iran, to India during religious persecutions by invading Muslims. This happened during the 7th to the 8th centuries. Zoroastrians are called in India Parsis, or as I spelled also Parsees, meaning Persians. They settled mainly in Mumbai, former Bombay, where they now live in their Parsis communities, but they also can be found in small towns and villages, mostly to the north of Mumbai, but also in Karachi, Pakistan, and Bengaluru, Karnataka, India. Although they are not a caste of Hinduism, they form a well-defined community. According to tradition, the Zoroastrians, fleeing from religious persecution at the hands of Muslims, they first settled at Hormuz, which lies at the Persian Gulf. But when they still finding themselves persecuted, they finally set sail for India, arriving there in the 8th century. Other accounts say that they came to India as late as the 10th century, but I go by my notes from school saying it was from the 7th to the 8th century. First, Zoroastrians, now Parsis in India, settled in Diu, D-I-U, in Kathiawar, a peninsula near the far north of India's west coast. But soon they moved to Gujarat, where they remained for about 800 years as a small agricultural community. In the early 17th century, an establishment of British trading posts at Surat and elsewhere took place, which altered the life for the Parsees living there because now they were receptive to European influence. It was a greater influence on the Parsees than on Hindus or Muslims, and so the Parsees got a taste for commerce. When in 1668 Bombay came under the control of the East India Company and complete religious toleration was decreed soon afterward, the Parsees from Gujarat began to settle in Bombay, which now is Mumbai. Parsees, they are great merchants with abilities in the industry of particularly the heavy industries connected to railways and shipbuilding. By the 19th century, the Parsees have built wealthy communities, and from 1850 onward, they moved into railways and shipbuilding predominantly. During a long time being away from their original country Persia, now Iran, Parsees tried to keep up the contact to the Zoroastrians in Iran. But over time, especially a small sect called Gabars under Muslim rule have been moved away from the Parsees living in India, because the Gabars, still back home in Iran, they were the purer followers of the tradition of Zoroastrianism, and they saw a conflict with the now more modern becoming Zoroastrians or Parsis in India. Okay, and also the Parsis in India, they started their own kind of community rituals, and they even started in own calendar, another calendar from Iran. So that two made that split. Okay, the Parsees, who formed a tiny community over 100,000 in size, with half of them living in Mumbai. And even though they were small, they exerted an influence out of the proportion of their small size, for they became one of the wealthiest bankers and industrialists of New India. Parsis, who are coming out of Zoroastrianism, a belief in no God in human form, but they worship to the source of truth, symbolized by pure light, which is the sun, and this pure light is called Ahura Mazda. Parsis, when they enter India, have fascinated many Westerner minds. Parsis pretty much are a closed community, closed to outsiders, and the Parsees have no ambition to show a missionary spirit, which is manifested in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. Parsis are for themselves in their own communities with high ethics and almost no dogmas. So the dead Parsis, now we come to that part, are disposed, or rather their corpses, in towers of silence, where the bones are swiftly picked clean by hovering vultures. Such custom is still today a Parsi custom in India, where the Parsi community follows their ancient funeral rites by bringing the dead to the towers of silence. So, that was on Zoroastrianism, now Parsis in India. And I think that is enough for today. And on Friday, I will talk about the last sect, which is, I always forget, chains, which is chains. We will talk about the chains, and then we also will talk a little bit more about Hinduism, about writings and so forth. And then I think we are pretty much finished with Hinduism. And after that, I might, before I go into Christianity and Judaism, I might go the other way around, because Islam came 600 years after Christianity, but I start with them, I think, before I go to Christianity - Judaism. Okay? So for today, I introduced a little bit more the gods of Hinduism, and we talked about a sect called Parsis in India, coming from Persia. And I hope I made it a little bit interesting for the people who never heard anything like that, and maybe find it kind of nice to learn about it. Okay? That's the goal of my channel, introducing the things that people might not have heard yet, or might have heard it but didn't see the whole picture, how it started, where it came from, and so forth. And I think I like to, not I think, I hope I introduce such things on my channel, make it more known to a wide group of people, and maybe instill some interest in some of you to learn more about it. Okay? So that was for today, and I think I might maybe come tomorrow or on Friday to finish up Hinduism. Okay? So Let me have another sip. My throat is dry. This is very good. I like bell peppers. So, that was it for today. Okay? I leave you alone. Have a good day. Enjoy the day. Smile, be happy. Spread love out into the world, because truly the world needs it. Okay? Goodbye.